Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're up early today because Celtic have given us some great early news, something to put a smile on our face and start the week off with a bang. There is another new contract at Celtic Football Club, and this time from none other than the captain himself, Callum McGregor. Welcome back. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. We are firing towards 40,000 subscribers, by the way, so keep that up. Down below, like, subscribe, all those buttons, it's all free. It'd be much appreciated. The support has been mad. Thank you very much. Club statement time. Sometimes you've got to love a club statement. Sometimes they're bad. We've had a fair share of bad club statements over the past few weeks, but today we've got a very nice club statement, a good club statement, one that details the new contract for our captain Callum McGregor, who has penned a new 5-year deal which will keep him at the club until 2028. Some very welcomed news, one that I didn't particularly expect, but and amongst a shower of new contracts, Callum McGregor becomes the latest, and for the most important player in our team, that's always welcome news. Here's the statement that Celtic put out this morning. Celtic are delighted to announce that Callum McGregor has signed a new 5-year contract which will see him remain at the club until the summer of 2028. The Celtic captain joined the club's youth academy as a 9-year-old and has now spent over 20 years with the club, winning 20 trophies to date, including 5 domestic trebles, more than any other player in football. So that was the kind of start of the statement. I mean, you don't need me to go into great detail as to who Callum McGregor is and what he's done. We all know by now, and I think this contract pretty much puts the final bit into his already established legacy here at Celtic. But I think that him signing this deal and him now being here until 2028, because let's be real, he'll see out that contract. I don't see him going anywhere. It pretty much solidifies him as a club legend, and I don't feel reserved in having to say that. It's something that I think has been more and more evident as the years go on. He's a quality footballer, a quality leader, a quality captain. But news like this, it makes you just say it so confidently. Like, this is a modern day legend at Celtic, and he's one of these captains who will go down in the same kind of ranks as Scott Brown, for example. He is a leader, he's a legend, and the success that he's achieved on the park just solidifies that. He's now made 420 appearances for the club. He'll be soon over that 500 mark if he stays fit. And, you know, Callum McGregor, he always stays fit. He plays more football than anybody in the world. He'll be soon over that 500 mark, which is a very elite club at Celtic. You know, only the best of the best, only the legends of this football club make it to 500 appearances. He'll soon be joining those players as he sees out his career here. And I think that, as I've touched on, pretty much solidifies that for me. I think this is a contract that now says that McGregor is here until the very end, till a ball is kicked. Look, I know Scott Brown had that last minute move to Aberdeen to finish off his career. I think that circumstances probably made that happen, with the COVID season coming in and, you know, the 10 in a row not quite happening. I don't think there's anything like that that'll happen for Callum McGregor. And you know, that's the thing. Callum McGregor's now 30 years old. This is a contract that keeps him here till 35. Callum McGregor's still playing football like a 21-year-old. And that's another fact. You know, all you need to do is look at his numbers, his output on the park, and how much he actually does on a week-in, week-out basis to see that that's the plain and obvious fact. He plays football like he's a 21-year-old, and he's showing no signs of slowing down. This is a guy who's still got so much to give, and keeping him here till he's 35, this is someone who could potentially go on to break records in terms of appearances made for the club, trophies won for the club. He's going to be captain for the next 5 years. And God knows how many more trebles and trophies he can lead us to while he's here, because he's still at the peak of his playing career. He's done it for an international team, he's done it for Celtic. For the last 3-4 years, top quality, and the most important player in this Celtic side. He has been seamlessly good between manager to manager, style to style, and position to position. This is someone who was asked to alter his game. This was someone who was changed position. He's had to do multiple jobs and roles, and he's done it without issue. He's done it without even, you know, a glitch or lag. he's done it so seamlessly. And that just shows the quality of the guy that you've got in your team here. You know, I spoke to Brendan Rodgers a couple of weeks ago, and my question I got to ask the manager was about Callum McGregor. And everything he said there about the professional that Callum McGregor is speaks volumes as to how he's so important, and probably why Rodgers wanted to give him this contract. He is just so good. and it's like one that's just hard to put into words. He's someone that when eventually this 5-year contract comes to an end and his Celtic career comes to an end, he's someone who we'll talk to our kids and our grandkids about as being the great player and leader that he is for both the club and country. A phenomenal player, and I'm so glad that he's signed another 5-year deal. Of course, Callum McGregor has commented on his new contract. This is what he said in the statement. It's amazing to extend my stay at the club. As I've touched on before, this club means so much to me, and the success that we've had over the past few seasons has cemented that. I feel like the club's in a great place to move forward as well, and when they came and asked me to extend my stay, I was absolutely delighted. Brendan is a top manager. I had the pleasure of working with him before and seeing what he did with that group of players, especially a young, hungry group similar to ourselves, and the way he progressed us and took us on. I'm delighted the manager's back, and I'm delighted that I'm going to be here long term as well. So here's to many more successful years. That was only some of his comments within that statement that Celtic put out this morning, but of course someone who's worked with Brendan Rodgers before and worked very well with Brendan Rodgers before, and I think that would have been one of the first things on Brendan Rodgers' mind coming back to the club, the fact he got to work with Callum McGregor. He wanted him on a new contract, he wanted to extend his stay, and listen, I don't think McGregor would have been off anywhere. I don't think this contract was entirely needed, but he's someone who deserves it. He's someone who deserves the reward of a new contract. And the faith that Brendan Rodgers has in him, it deserves to be displayed to us all. And by giving him a 5-year deal, it does exactly that. You know, it shows the faith that the manager has in his captain. And for the service that he's given Celtic and for everything that he's put into this club, he deserves everything back out from the club. I assume that this makes him the highest earner if he wasn't already. Of course, we don't know the exact details of what players are on a week at the club. But Jota was on reportedly £35,000 a week. I think this probably means that McGregor's probably up towards that £50,000 a week mark. Because I assumed he would have been on more than Jota while he was here. So maybe he was on about 40 grand a week. Maybe he's up towards that 50 grand mark now. Probably one of the record earners at this club in an entire history. But he deserves every penny of that, everything that he's put in. This is like the minimum of what he deserves back. So obviously he's very excited to work with Brendan Rodgers. He's given him a glowing endorsement, and I think that combination of those two working together will be even better than last time. You know, McGregor has matured as a player. He's become a better player. He's become a captain. You know, what Scott Brown was to Brendan Rodgers in that first term, now that's McGregor's job. To be that leader on the park and to take everything across to the players on match day. And listen, if there was anybody who you could pick other than Scott Brown to do that, it was always going to be Callum McGregor. Of course, it's not the first new contract since the arrival of Brendan Rodgers. This now makes him the third player to be given a new deal, joining Kyogo and Dyson Maeda. So the question is there anyone coming next? Any new contracts to be given out to some of the Celtic players? It's good to tie these players down. As I said, didn't have any fear of McGregor going anywhere, but it's just nice to see it happen, and he wholeheartedly deserves it. So thank you, Callum. I enjoy this contract. I enjoy the fact I'm going to see you for the next 5 years, leading this team to more glory. Buzzing. On that note, Callum and the boys will be now getting into work this week. The side have jetted off to Portugal, and we get underway on Wednesday with a very, very quietly planned pre-season fixture over in Portugal before we head to Japan. Celtic are apparently set to play Portimonense. I think that's how you say it. On Wednesday night, it's a closed-door friendly. Apparently, that will be our first game of the pre-season. So nice to see the minutes get put in the legs of the players. Brendan Rodgers spoke to Celtic TV. Probably seen the interview saying that it would be a brutal few weeks for the Celtic players. Said it was going to be a very, very intense training camp to get us up to the level of fitness that he wants us to be at. And obviously, remember, his first spell here, he came in and inherited probably one of the less fitter sides in Celtic history, and he turned them into machines, turned them into animals. So he's now inherited one of the most fit sides in Celtic history. What is he going to do with them? That's the big question. So we get underway this week. Callum McGregor will obviously be leading that on the pitch. But good to see us get back underway with Brendan Rodgers, and I'm excited to see what comes out over the next few weeks. But that's it for today. The big news, Callum McGregor, new contract. Can't complain about that. We are waiting for more details in regards to transfer rumours, speculation, yada yada. It looks like things are getting done very quietly at the club. But I'm sure we'll see a surplus of players come through the door as the month goes on. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's it for today. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.